In this video, I'm going to take you through opening an Excel file in SPSS and just checking that it's set up okay. So I'm in SPSS version 25. If you want to see what version you're in, go to Help, About. If you have a lower version, then some of the things that you do may look a little bit different. The graphs will probably look a lot different, but I'm not going to do that in this video. Mostly I think it's pretty much the same. So to open your Excel data, go to the Open Data Document icon or up to File, Open Data. Go to wherever you've downloaded the Excel file, and I've just got mine in my Downloads folder. At the moment, nothing is showing up, and that's because it's looking for SPSS files, and I don't have any in this folder. So you can see down here it's looking for spss.sav files. We can tell it to look for Excel, so just scroll down there and choose Excel, and then you should be able to see your file. So I'm going to click on that and click Open. And we've got a little checkbox here to read variable names from the first row of data. So if you've set up your data with one single header row, which has your variable names, then you need to have this ticked. And I would recommend that you do this. I think this is the best way to manage your data. If you have extra header rows, it's likely that SPSS will get confused and it will try to put some of your header rows in the first couple of rows of data, and then it may not detect your variable types correctly. So I'd always recommend in Excel that you make sure you only have one header row. So click OK, and that will open up. I'll just move that across to my capture. So it has imported this data and everything is looking fine. So this view of SPSS looks very similar to the Excel view. It doesn't have the same functionality. It's set up for different stuff. So the header row, you can't edit directly in this view. So if you look down in the bottom left-hand corner where it says Data View, that's what I mean by this view. And the rest of this should look similar to what it was like in Excel. Next to each variable name, there's a little icon, and this is representing what type of variable it is. So if you hover there, you'll see that if you've got a little ruler, then it's a scale variable or continuous. If it's the three dots, it's nominal. And we don't have an ordinal variable here. Now, education might actually be an ordinal variable, so let's have a look at how we change that. So now go down here and switch from data view to variable view. You can see these are our variable names in the first column, and the measure or the type of variable it is here. So let's go to education and change that to ordinal. And you can see that that's now our symbol for ordinal. And if we go back to the data view, it's changed it there. So we'll take a quick look at the rest of the columns. So when you import your data, you'll need to check that the measures are correct. If you have the wrong measure on a variable, then you may be prevented from doing an operation that you want to do. It might just refuse to do it. If you have imported data and it says that it's nominal or ordinal and it's actually continuous or scale, and SPSS won't let you change it, when you do the drop down, it just doesn't bring this up as an option. It'll probably means that it hasn't detected that the data is numeric. So you need to check in the type column, and the most common problem is that it will bring it in as a string, which means characters. And I usually see this happen when people have more than one header row, or they've added little comments into their file. I would never add comments directly into the Excel data that I'm going to bring into SPSS, unless I put them in a special column and I just label them comments, but I tend not to dot them all over the file. So check that that's not string, make sure it's numeric, and then you should get the option to have a scale variable. So I'll quickly point out some of these other columns. In the name column, you can change this name, but the names must be unique. So I can't have another variable and call it group because it's a duplicate. There are some characters that you can't put in the variable name. So if I try to do new space variable, it doesn't like that. New exclamation mark, no good. There are some that this version is letting me do, but I don't know if older versions can do it. So new hash, it did let me when I tried that before, which is interesting. So have a play with yours and just check which ones you can use. But for the most part, you'll see variable names are written with this underscore instead of a space, because the spaces are generally not allowed. Now, because these names are not always exactly what we want them to be, we have this extra label column, and you can type in something longer with spaces in it here. And this is what will show up when you do your graphs. So you could type pre-measurement BDI in here. You can have that much longer, and often these will be quite descriptive. One thing that can happen when you import from Excel is that you end up with a lot of extra decimal places when you don't need them. So I'll just have to change that up. The longest I've ever seen is probably 15 decimal places. So if you open up your Excel file in SPSS and it looks like this, you can change that. It won't hurt you to have the decimal places there, it just looks ugly. So you can just go there and cut the decimal places back down to 0 or 1. Values column. So where we have a number which actually represents a value, a label, so let's say in the sex column we've got 1s and 2s, we might actually on the graphs want female and male written instead, because it will be a lot easier to read. If we publish a graph with 1 or 2 in it, no one's going to know what they mean. So this is where in here you can go the values, click the blue dots, 1 is equal to, I don't know what it's equal to, I'm just going to take a guess that it's male, add it in. I will check it actually before I do the next videos. And 2, let's assume that that's female, and add that in. And now when we work with this variable, and maybe we want gender put on the graphs instead. Oh, I've done it in the wrong. You can actually copy these, Control C, Control V, and I'm just going to remove them from the age. So you can add your values in there. If you have particular missing value codes, you can put them in here. I'm not specifically going to use them in this course, but if you have a lot of 999s in your data or 98s, 99s, they can be missing value codes and you can code them in here. And the role, again, that's not going to affect us too much. You can just leave that for now. Once you've checked your data is set up correctly, then you're ready to start doing some graphs and some descriptive stats.